I mean this with all sincerity, is it's not just the money, it's the mental energy required to fight something like this. I hope it doesn't take over your life. I mean that. I hope it doesn't distract you from your jobs, your family.
I'll tell you what it's done, though. You know what it's done? It is definitely, I lead a good life, and we all do, and we're very fortunate. But it's taken $250,000 out of my business, and it's taken $10 million off of my. I don't know. It really brings me down a lot to know that somebody can do this to somebody at any time. Now, Tucker, I know what slander and defamation is. If I get on the air and say, this radio personality, I know that he's gay. I know that he, has oral situations with men. Well, now, obviously, the man's not gay. He's married to a lovely woman. That's simply not true. That would be slander and libel. I agree. But right. Simple name calling, that he's a hack and that he's short, and he's got pubic hair on top of his head, and he's overpaid, and he's a pussy, and he looks like one of them flying monkeys from the Wizard of Oz, and all the name calling that great institutions like Saturday Night Live and Mad TV and every sketch.
Rush Limbaugh, who works for the very company that's suing us,
that they're based on. I mean, Rush Limbaugh does, Obama the Black Magic Negro. Songs. If I would lose this, that puts all that in jeopardy, that nobody now can call anybody names at any time. Now, I know that if I'm talking about some woman that's a housewife and not in the media, never been in the newspaper, not part of any scandal, there's different parameters that I can speak about her than I can about a guy that has been in radio for 25 years.
Yes.
I know that. And so, to me, it's almost unexplainable, in my opinion.
Well, it's totally explainable. If he crushes you, he benefits because you're his competitor and you're beating him. So rather than beat you in a fair forum like the marketplace or the parking lot behind your studio, he's trying to beat you in an unfair forum, court.
Now, would you call that a communist statist solution? I
would say it's one of the great examples of why we need tort reform immediately, and I'm glad you pointed out that Bush didn't bring it. That was a major failure. And, obviously Obama, who gets a lot of his money from trial lawyers, isn't going to do it, but at some point, we need real tort reform. We really do. This is like one of the reasons that, the rest of parts of the rest of the world are leaving us in the dust.
I mean, we
spend so much time with nonsense like this.
We need to have what they have over there in England and Great Britain, loser pays. That's the bottom line.
Well, then I like Bubba's idea of just having a common sense judge. Because,
as a filter.
As a filter. You take a few people that just have common sense.
Like, for instance,
and you put these things in front of them.
The woman, I think we mentioned this before, Tucker. The woman who double clutched her car and she spilled McDonald's hot coffee on her lap, and she actually got into the courtroom. She was able to see the light of day, and I think McDonald's may have won, or there was something. I don't know.
She won $3.9 million.
She got money.
Yeah.
$3.9 million.
Yeah. Now there you go. That even makes me even madder.
Exactly.
Tucker, can you believe it? So some dumb bitch whose foot slips off. That goes back to exactly everything you believe in, Tucker, and that's personal responsibility for your own actions. It wasn't the McDonald's woman that worked, or the man that worked through the drive-thru that reached through the drive-thru, grabbed her left foot, pulled it off the clutch, and made her no.
How about the lady who sued because she thought crunch berries were real berries, and now she was deprived of nutrition from berries for years, and it made it to the courtroom?
And how about
what is wrong with America?
I'll even one up you. Not that I'm for big tobacco, by all means. But how many billions and billions with a B have big tobacco had to pay out with people who smoked cigarettes for 40 years and died of lung cancer, and then their widow goes into court and says, well, they made cigarettes more and more powerful each year, knowing that my husband was going to be addicted. And I mean, that in itself is probably the biggest injustice ever. And how those are able to see the light of day and get into the courtroom, Tucker, I don't get it.
Well, and by the way, none of those people got rich from it. Only the trial lawyers got rich from it.
Right.
Lawyers are the only ones who got rich from that suit. And the whole thing is, and government, of course. I mean, the government is practically runs on tobacco money, on the addictions of poor people. The whole thing is disgusting. Look, the real cost here is not just economic; it's moral. It's like the country is becoming whinier.
We're a bunch of sore losers
on mommy than ever.
We're a bunch of it's the pussification and the sore loser effect of America. If my dad dies too soon, then I'm going to blame somebody else. If I double clutch my car and I spill coffee, it's somebody else's fault.
And that's the way the government wants it.
Well, I don't want it that way. It's almost.
And I think it got started and accelerated with Bill Clinton, and it hasn't stopped until this day, and it's gotten worse.
I mean, loser pays. You know, one of my good friends just emailed me, and he said, you know, one of the best points that Tucker has made is the fact that this MJ Kelly character is wasting taxpayer dollars. How many hundreds of man-hours is it taking the judicial system of the 13th Circuit with paper processing and judges to look at filings and proceedings and bailiffs and court? How much is this costing? What is this costing the taxpayers of Hillsborough County? So that some DJ who got his ass kicked fair and square in the marketplace has a bad attitude and is a sore loser and can't either, one, meet me outside the back parking lot like Tucker mentioned, or two, beat me in the marketplace because he's a sniveling little bitch. He wants to use the 13th Circuit judicial system to sue me and try to get some relief on something he can't do on his own, which is beat me.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what's happening.
Now, you know,
using the power of the state.
And at the end of the day, man, I mean, look at this. Look at the. And I know you don't like Oberman, and that's fine. But I mean, look at the Keith Oberman / Bill O'Reilly war, and all the other media wars we've been privy to. I've never known, Tucker. I've never known of the loser. Look at the John DeBella / Howard Stern wars. Look at the Howard Stern Rick Dees wars. Look at the Power Pig Q105 wars. That was a local station down here, Tucker. Look at all that we grew up with, whether it be television, whether it be newsprint, or whether it be radio. And I've never known for one to sue the other based on, name calling. Now, I've seen some stuff before where one radio personality talked about another personality's wife and that she was a whore and she had herpes. And now that's liable. That's slanderous. She didn't have herpes, and she didn't. And that's why they were able to do that. I get it. But not on simple name calling. It's just not going to happen.
Like Howard went on David Letterman Monday night and killed Jay Leno. Said he was not good, said he was a hack, said he stole his bits, all that stuff. And I think Howard's allowed to do that. And Jay Leno's not going to sue Howard over that.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, the bottom line is, if I say something and you don't like it, you don't have the right to force me to shut up.
Right.
Okay? And he's trying to force you to shut up because he doesn't care for what you're saying. And he doesn't have that right. And he's harassing you.
And now, meanwhile, this guy is done this sort of thing. If you heard his show, it's that morning zookeeper type nut hut mentality. Britney's dating here and Lindsay Lohan is a lesbian, all that stuff. And this guy's big claim to fame, Tucker, 10 years ago was during the OJ trial. He had a guy that was his co-host called BJ, and it was MJ, BJ, and OJ, and they had a big billboard of those three together.
That's 15 years ago now.
That was 15 years ago. That's this hack's claim to fame. Now, isn't he doing very well when he was making fun of OJ, was he not?
Yeah, of course.
And he had another billboard with Britney and had her going crazy, and Clear Channel got sued for that, and they had to bring it. So Clear Channel has been sued for what this guy is suing me for. Yeah. Anyway, Tuck, I love you, buddy, and I'll see you.
You guys are the best.
I'll see you
Good luck with this, man.
I'll see you next week, okay, buddy?
I'll be here.
Bye now.